Hi, welcome along to Transfer Daily, the show that takes a look at players that have been linked with a January transfer move to Arsenal. 6 days to go of the January transfer window. And good news today is that Paulista, it looks like it might get done today. He might sign on that dotted line. I understand that he was doing his medical yesterday. The work permit has been sorted, as I was saying on the show yesterday. I don't think there was any way Arsenal were going to be sort of messing around with this deal if they didn't know that they had a massive chance of getting the work permit sorted. And well, Paulista is going to be an Arsenal player, and really looking forward to see how he's going to get on at the Arsenal. He seems to have all the attributes to be an Arsenal player. We're being told that the deal's going to be about £11.3 million. He's obviously very, very excited to be playing at Arsenal. He'll be in the Champions League for the first time as well. And, well, we have to wait and see if it's going to be a great signing. But it's a very positive signing by Arsenal. And they've got their man. They've gone out there from the outset. They've looked at Paulista. He's looked like the player that Arsenal need. Has had all the, as I said, all the attributes that they wanted. And they've got their man. And I'm sure every Arsenal fan's looking forward to seeing Paulista. Will give us a massive boost. We needed a defender. Wish we'd have done this in the summer, but let's see how Paulista gets on. But listen, that's not all. We're being told today that Arsenal are chasing another defender. No defenders in the summer. All of a sudden, loads of them come along. We're being told today that Arsenal taking a look at a young defender, very young player, up-and-coming player, but very well thought of in Italy. He goes by the name of Daniel Rugani. He plays at the moment for Empoli in Italy. He's only 20 years of age. Now, very interesting, this player. He's co-owned by Juventus. These are weird deals that they have in Europe, but he's co-owned by Juventus, and we are told that they have an option to buy him. However, it's thought that a bid of about £2.5 million would be enough to secure the youngster and get him to come to the Emirates. As I said, lots of clubs are chasing him at the moment. They really look at him as a massive prospect. Also, have had scouts watching him for a long time now, and they're very keen to bring him in. And that would, as I said, there was no defenders, and then all of a sudden, loads and loads of them come along. But listen, it's looking good. It's always good to have a lot of defenders, because if you don't concede goals, you don't lose games. So I'm glad to see that Arsenal are looking to strengthen that position. Another player that's been linked today is another player that's also been linked over the past couple of weeks, and that's Azier Illarramendi. Illarramendi, as you know, plays for Real Madrid. He hasn't been getting in the team, but he had a big money move to Real Madrid. And at the time when he moved to Real Madrid, Arsenal were chasing him as well, but he decided on Real Madrid. Now, this is the thing. You go to Real Madrid, you think to yourself, yes, I've gone to the biggest club in the world. I'm going to be playing with all these superstars. The problem is they are all superstars. And Real Madrid are one of those clubs that they just buy the next biggest thing. They remind me of like you'll have a woman and she buys this handbag, and then she sees the latest handbag comes out and then she wants to buy that one. That's a bit like Real Madrid. They went out and bought Toni Kroos, and now Illarramendi's finding it very difficult to get anywhere near the first team. We've been hearing that Atletico Bilbao have been really interested in signing him, but they have been cooled off a bit because the price which they're being told. And we are being told that Arsenal are monitoring the situation, still interested in the player. He's like a deep-lying midfielder, not quite a defensive midfielder, but a deep-lying midfielder who's excellent on the ball, very strong, but also a very good playmaker. I remember watching him in the Spanish under-21s team. He's a very good player, and Arsenal are still interested in the possibility of bringing him across to the Emirates Stadium. Another player that they've been showing interest in, and we're hearing again today that Arsenal are stepping up their interest in this player, and that is the German player who plays for Borussia Dortmund, Kevin Grosskreutz. Now, Chris Kroos, again, he's a defensive midfielder who's plays for Dortmund, 26 years of age. We're being told £3.7 million is what Dortmund are looking for him. We know that Dortmund, they've had lots of problems this season with, you know, where they are in the league, and they may have to offload some players. However, Dortmund have been sort of consistently saying throughout the window that, listen, we're not getting rid of none of our players in January. We need these guys because we're near the bottom of the league. We need to push up that Bundesliga, and well, they need to stave off relegation. That's how serious it is at the moment for a massive club like Dortmund's. So they don't want to let none of these players go. But Kroos could be a player that they may allow to leave, and he's a defensive midfielder and would put a bit of steel into that midfield. And that's what Arsenal need. They need a bit of steel in that midfield, and they're looking at Kroos seriously. So we're going to have to watch this space on that over the next 6 days as well. One deal that looks like it definitely won't be happening. I mean, it was being talked up a lot. Whether it would have happened anyway in January is very doubtful because of the amount of money what it would cost. But Arsenal definitely interested in this player, and that's Alexandre Lacazette. Lacazette a lot on the show. He's a very, very exciting striker. He scored loads of goals, over 20 goals this season for Lyon. And, you know, any striker anywhere around Europe that scores that amount of goals is going to get the interest of every top club around Europe. And Arsenal have been very interested in Lacazette. But Lacazette, we've been told, is injured and is going to be out for at least 3 weeks. Picked up an injury, going to be out for at least 3 weeks. So that seems to have scuppered any hope of any deal for Lacazette, even though it was very, very minor that anything would get done this January. But with the injury to Lacazette, I think that ends all interest from any club, not just Arsenal, of getting Lacazette in this January transfer window. And talking of strikers, a striker that we've got that came on Sunday during the game, and I thought did really, really well. I mean, the only way the Brighton players could stop him was either by fouling him or pulling him back. He was so quick, so pacey. And I've seen this guy as well playing in the youth team. I've seen this guy playing in pre-season, and I've been always really impressed when I've seen him, and that is Chuba Akpom. Deal by Arsenal. They want to sign him up until at least 2018. But we're being told that Chuba and his team are kind of stalling on the contract. He's been at Arsenal since he was about 6 years old. He's grown up through the youth system, but we're hearing that he's stalling on a contract. He's 19 years of age. He wants to play week in, week out, and we can fully understand that. But we want to keep this guy. I think this guy's definitely a really, really good prospect for Arsenal, and I really want to see us keep hold of him. Lot of clubs hovering, and big clubs as well, hovering for him. We've heard that Liverpool are interested. We've heard that Manchester City are interested. He'd be mad to go to Manchester City. I mean, how are you going to get in if you can't get in the Arsenal team? How are you going to get in there now that they've just signed Wilfred Boney? But we are being heard. We have heard that they're interested as well. He's also got clubs in Europe that are interested in him. Borussia Dortmund, which remember we reported at the start of the when we started doing these programs at the start of the window. Borussia Dortmund interested in him. FC 20, Feyenoord, they're all interested in Chuba Akpom, and Chuba Akpom has been sort of stalling on a deal. He's, you know, I don't know, I suppose he wants some assurances about whether he'll be able to get a game at Arsenal. Listen, as far as Chuba, just hang on, mate. I think he's shown signs that he will be able to make it into that Arsenal team eventually. And I really would like to see to keep hold of one of our top talents that has come through our system. And he, to me, you know, obviously we haven't seen we didn't see the finishing ability of him on Sunday, but he showed a lot in that last 15 minutes to suggest that he's going to be a top player. Let's get into what you guys have had to say. Saying about yesterday's some of the links that we gave yesterday. Keno Durham says, make it rain for Lacazette and Schneiderlin in the summer. That would be good, isn't it, those two? He said, Wenger, call your boy Thierry Henry to convince Lacazette to come to Arsenal. Drop the dead meats, Flamini, Arteta and Diaby. That's a bit harsh. No disrespect to Arteta, he says. I know he brings leadership, but we don't need him anymore. Then splash the cash, he says. Let's get another one here. Adam Pugsley says, let's be honest, it'll be Per Mertesacker who'll be the backup defender, not Paulista. Ooh, I'll tell you what, that does put Per Mertesacker and Koscielny under a lot of pressure, and that's what we need. We need these guys being put under pressure. If Paulista comes in and really performs, and, you know, as I said, he's going to be chomping at the bit, you know, playing at a club like Arsenal. You know, listen, we're going to have to give him time as well. He's going to have to settle in. It's a big step up from Villarreal that's like, you know, quite a smallish club. Even though they're a big name in Spain, it's quite a small club, small, you know, stadium. Coming to the Emirates is going to be a real massive step up for Paulista. Harry Riker says, Jack wasn't on fire at all. Remember I said yesterday on the show that before Jack Wilshere got injured, he was really on fire. I thought he was really on form. But Jack Riker disagrees. He says he wasn't on fire at all. In fact, all he was doing was pushing Cazorla out onto the left where he's ineffective. When Jack got injured and vacated that number 10 role, Santi stepped in, and we've seen that he scores goals and provides multiple assists. Jack seldom contributed. I think that's very unfair. I think Jack Wilshere was playing very well for club and country before he got injured. And no, I disagree there. Jack Wilshere was playing very well. Don't get me wrong. You're right. Santi's come in and he's been brilliant. And that's what we want. We want players to, that's what a good squad is, isn't it? When players step in when another player becomes injured. NJ says Lacazette and Schneiderlin. If we get those two, we would arguably have the best squad in the Premier League. They would be great additions. Pasma says, I hope Paul Easter, I remember that one from yesterday, Paul Easter, gets the work permit and settles quickly. Well, the work permit is sorted out. As I said, you're right, let's hope he settles down quickly. That's the thing, when you buy a player in January, remember, they have to settle in, and that is part of the problem sometimes. How quick can a player settle in January? Some can come in and just make an immediate impact and be just, you know, others, if they don't really hit it off probably until the next season. But so we're going to have to wait and see with him. We're going to have to be patient with Paulista. Ben Roberts says, Busquets, remember I said yesterday there was a link to Busquets from by Arsenal. He says he's another overrated player, not great on the ball, even at a club like Barcelona, very slow and not great in the tackle. You think he's a good player? Then you're deluded, he says. No way do we want him. Listen, to be honest, I don't really want Busquets either. I mean, a lot of fans pointed out yesterday, I was reading through the comments, and there was a lot of fans saying, listen, he's diving and cheating antics. I mean, I saw him playing in a game last week, and he was barely touched and he went over. You know, he makes Robert Perez look like Tony Adams, I'll tell you, right? This guy, Busquets, and he's a big guy. And I'm not sure if I'd want him at Arsenal either. But listen, even though Coquelin's been doing brilliant, I still think let's get a world-class player in that defensive midfielder role, a world-class defensive midfielder and Coquelin, or a very, very, very good, somebody like a Schneiderlin and Coquelin, the two of them competing there, and we've got some team going into next season. Thanks for watching Transfer Daily today. Hopefully by the time I come back tomorrow, the Paulista deal will be done. You'll be seeing him there holding up his shirt, and we can start to get a bit excited about having a defender at last, backup defender who doesn't have to cover from the wings, etc. So looking forward to seeing the Paulista deal getting done hopefully today.